Welcome to the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay. This is your positive path for spiritual living.
So yes, we're celebrating today Earth Day Sunday. And I'm going to invite us all, this is an invitation, can we put aside our adult self and allow the child in us to come forth, that just be open on this day, because like Jesus said, we must be like children in order to enter the kingdom of heaven. And we must be like children in order to acknowledge Pachamama, the Divine Mother, in her full splendor. The one that gives us life and sustains us as human beings that we are on this planet. So I want to begin by really honoring all life right here, right now, all those that have come before us, that are walking the planet, and those to come. I want to honor the seers, the healers, the medicine men, the shamans. Life in all its forms, the 7 billion or more human beings upon the planet right now, and the winged ones, and the 4-legged ones. I want to acknowledge the Great Spirit, that we can say, Aho, which means, I see you, thank you, amen. Honoring this life, waking up to this awareness of this one life, one energy, one source. Acknowledging the wind, the fire, the elements, the earth that we walk upon. Acknowledge beauty in all its form. So take a breath, get out of your head and into your heart, into that place that recognizes beauty, recognizes the divine as creative energy. That place where the field of infinite possibilities lies is here in your heart. And if we really want to tap into knowing our oneness with all life, we got to really activate the power of love. As I was watching that video, I really realized we can come up with 1,000,000 theories, 1,000,000 philosophies, 1,000,000 religions of why we're alive. But there's one simple truth. I invite you. We're here on planet Earth, walking planet Earth, to wake up the power of love. And until we wake up the power of love, we're not going to be able to recognize how sacred life is, and how sacred and how magnificent it is to be incarnated right here, right now on planet Earth. For we have the opportunity to shift things around. And it's up to us. That's the reality. If not us, who? And it's not about getting overwhelmed. It's about doing what's ours to do moment by moment. So relax and be, because it really begins with just being and activating this power of love. You know, Jesus said, love your neighbor as you love yourself. But we don't do a very good job about loving ourselves. So begin right here, right now, by taking a moment to be kind to yourself, love yourself for who you are. By simply being, love yourself, because the essence that you are is divine. And then when you can love yourself in that way, then we can be more compassionate with other, and we can begin to see the connections, not only with other human beings, but with all of life. And I want to share in the Hebrew Bible, it says, "But ask the animals, and they will teach you. The birds of the air, and they will tell you. Ask the plants of the earth, and they will teach you. And the fish of the sea will declare to you. Who among all these does not know that the hands of the Lord has done this? In his hand is the life of every living thing and the breath of every human being. Does not the ear test words as the palate tastes food? With God are the wisdom and the strength." It is the one life, the one breath. And you know what? This one breath is continually being recycled. Our physical bodies are made up of recycled elements, the same molecules we continually share with each other. So yes, we are connected in the one life. And the earth is a living, breathing being. It is not what we thought it was, that it was just a machine with separate parts. And this is the big shift that we're beginning to see how connected life is. And the new sciences tell us this is just a field of intelligence everywhere. This is the quantum theory that as what we focus on expands. So let's focus on what connects us, what brings us together, our shared humanity in the one life. And rejoice and celebrate, because we can, in an instant, bring the kingdom of God at here now, because the kingdom of God is at hand. And it's up to us. Just breathe into the awareness that it's all here, all divine, because we are connected to the things, to the things that we use. And once we begin to know that we are so connected, because everything that we see and perceive in the world of time and space, in the material world, is made up of energy. Everything is energy. Everything, one energy. One energy. And this energy is divine essence. So God is present in all things. So what we can do, instead of being so focused on seeing the world just as things, let's take a moment and breathe and just rest as the awareness what everything is birthed into and falls back into. Our physical bodies have an expiration date, from dust to dust. But our essence is infinite. Infinite. And we can begin to rest in that. And in that, just like the lilies of the field, we can relax. We can be okay no matter what. And we can release the past, let go of all the stories that we have told ourselves. Even the stories of not being good enough, not measuring up, we can let that go. In other words, let go a little bit of the story of poor little me and begin to identify more from the divine essence that we are. Now look at your hands for a moment and bring your awareness to the tip of your fingers. And you can even bring them together. And if you bring them together, you can, at one moment, you're going to feel the pulse of life right there. And then when you touch somebody's hand, when you just get near, you're going to feel that pulse that's being shared, that energy that's being shared. Now imagine for a second that one of your fingers on your hands just drops off and decides that it is not connected and it's going to have a life separate from you. Just imagine that for a moment. Well, that's kind of the insanity that we've been living in. Like if we're fingers by ourselves. No, we are connected to the one body, the one life. And when we become aware of this, it's like a waking up from this dream, from this illusion of separation that we have believed ourselves to be, which we're not doing a very good job about that. It's time to realize how connected we are to the one life with everything. There was this man, he was being chased by a bear. And the more he ran, the bear chased after him until he couldn't run anymore. He was totally cornered into a wall. And when he found himself cornered into the wall and the bear coming at him, he just took a breath and he started to pray and he said, "Oh God, God, may this bear be a Christian." And when the bear got close to him, the bear said, "Thank you, Father, for this meal I'm about to eat." Everything is embodied energy in this cycle of life. And there is a divine order. And it is greater than what our senses can see. So everything is ultimately a blessing. Everything. And wherever you are is home. That's the reality. When we're living from the place of our connection, we stop thinking that our house is just the little walls that separate us. And you can be in China, in Africa, in South America, wherever you are in the physical plane, we know that we're connected. And in an instant, you can just take a breath and go within and connect with your loved ones, because in spirit, we are one. Home is wherever you are. Right where you are home. But it begins by first acknowledging home to self. Come home to self. Come home to your oneness. Come home to your heart. Come home to your humanity as you come home to your divinity. And once you recognize your divinity, the essence of life in you, then let that essence embody your humanity. And that is the new being that we're being called up in the spiral of evolution. You know, at the core of Unity's teachings is the one power, the one presence, the one life. And so we can begin to acknowledge this one power, this one presence, and work the mind to this recognition and bring that forth in our everyday life. Because one thing is, the same mind that keeps us in bondage, in prison, has the power to set us free. So we can begin to work with the mind to liberate ourselves and do what is ours to do, and then that begins to have a ripple effect in our lives and in the world. So we begin to acknowledge, wow, there's one life, one energy pulsating through me, through my veins right now. Every heartbeat is a reminder of the one life. When I take a breath, I remember how this breath is breathing me. You know, and it is the same breath that's being recycled here and there. And so we begin to use the mind to remind us of our oneness. And then we begin to affirm, one life, and I'm one with it. I am one with this life. Let's affirm this together. I am one with life. I am one with life. And feel the life flowing through you. Feel the blood moving through you in every breath, in every rhythm of your heart is a reminder that you are one with infinite life. Within you, around you, I'm one with life. And it feels good to know that you belong. That you belong, that you're worthy, that you are part of existence, that the world could not be the same without you. Because you make up a very essential part of this divine tapestry that we're all a part of. All unique beings that make up this oneness. Just like every drop from the ocean contains the whole is contained in you, right where you are. So we begin to recognize this and to affirm this truth, and then we begin to work in the mind even more, because we recognize that as I change my thinking, I change my reality. My experience of reality begins to change by me changing my mind. So then I begin to focus on that I want to see. I want to focus on what works and not what does not work. I begin to see things differently by changing my mind. And then we can use affirmations of this oneness. I am in the flow of well-being, moving from good to good. I am, because I am is our true nature, is who we are. I am in the flow of well-being, moving from good to good. Let's affirm this. I am in the flow of well-being, moving from good to good, in the flow of well-being. Doesn't that feel good when you know that you are in the flow of the well-being, just like a river is continually flowing to meet its ocean? In the flow of well-being. And when we begin to use our innate powers, the gifts of spirit, one of the gifts of spirit from the I am is the power to release. For we have the power to do our mind gardening. That means pull out the weeds, as Dr. Paula was saying earlier, and that's what she's going to work in her workshop. Pull out those weeds that are not serving us through the power of release, through the power of letting go. And then in that rich soil, begin to plant the seeds of truth. And just like the acorn has the code to become the mighty oak, we have the power to plant those seeds in truth to become the fullness of God right here, right now, because you are the divine waking up. God needs us to experience this magnificent world. We are the hands, the feet, the voice of God. We are the embodiment of the divine, of this divine essence. And then we begin to work with our mind to free ourselves. And we continue to activate this power by the power of prayer and meditation so that we may practice present moment awareness, mindfulness in all our actions, mindfulness from the moment we wake up, how sacred life is. Take a breath, know the stillness, know the silence, begin to listen to the stillness, begin to listen to the silence as the teacher. Mindfulness every time we eat. Taking a moment to acknowledge that the food that is in our plate is related to all life. So pick up a fruit. And how many people did it take to get that fruit to your table or whatever you're going to eat? How many hands did it take? That pick up a raisin and look, from the sun to the connection of all life. And then we can honor trees in a different way. We can honor life, the connection. So our food that is nourishing our body comes from earth. The connection with Pachamama, with the Divine Mother. And then our actions, that all our actions come from a place of clarity, from a place of knowing our connection, knowing that we live and move and have our being in infinite divine substance, that we can shift our mentality of scarcity to a mentality of there is enough, but I must treat this energy with reverence. That I may really be here to cooperate with life and not get in the way of life. And we can simplify our lives and be much more in harmony and in balance with everything, because as within, as without. That's how connected we are with all life. And then practice a life of generosity and gratitude. Years ago, I went to a retreat in Arizona in the desert. And every day we were taken to the desert so that the desert could be our teacher. And we would sit there for hours in the silence, learning. And one of the things that we learned was the medicine men, the Native Americans, before taking from earth, they gave. First of all, they asked for permission because we were to acknowledge that those rocks that we were seeing right there could be there for hundreds of years. And the moment that we begin to take, we're actually moving an environment. So we begin to ask permission and give back to earth. And so they had tobacco and given a little bit tobacco before we received, and then be grateful. Like Jesus, every time he did a miracle, he said, thank you to God. So the power of gratitude amplifies the truth, helps us focus on what we have, and it continues to expand. And in India, there's the practice of sacred pujas, also giving back fire and giving back to the elements, always giving back. So in every culture, at the beginning of every culture, there is this practice of giving, In Bali, every morning when I was in Bali, the first thing you see, every business gave an offering to life, a little flower, something to acknowledge life, acknowledge our interconnectedness. And if we don't acknowledge our interconnectedness and acknowledge this life, we fall into the trap of not enoughness. What the Buddhists call the hungry ghost that want more and more and more. And so we get uncomfortable with just being. So what do? We go shop. We turn on the TVs and there's this, you need this to be happy. Or if you only had this dress, then everybody's going to look at you. Or there's always something going to be tempting our senses. And the moment we acknowledge that, we can free ourselves from this not enoughness. And when that feeling of not enoughness comes in, the invitation is acknowledge the breath. And know how much breath there is. Notice all the things that you do have to be grateful for. Notice all the connections. Go for a walk on the beach and acknowledge the waves, acknowledge the ocean, acknowledge the fish. Go for a walk in the park. Look at the trees. Look at life in every way. There is enough. What we must get out of is the thoughts of not enoughness. And because the moment that we get out of the thoughts of not enoughness, we don't have to compete so much. And we can share. There is enough to feed all humanity. There is enough for every human being to have food on the planet. There's a book called Abundance by Peter Diamond, and he says, the future is better than we think. We have the technology. We have everything. We have the creativity. We have it all. We just begin to create a new paradigm, a new dream. And we create a new dream by waking up and realize that we have bought into a false dream of separation, of scarcity. And wake up the dreamer so that the dreamer can wake up a new dream. Together we can envision a new world, envision what it would really be to have heaven on earth and us walking this planet in the awareness that life is sacred and that we are sacred and that we are connected to this one field, this one force. So take a breath. Feel that life flowing through you. And it's like it says in the Talmud, every blade of grass has an angel whispering, grow, 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 wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. There's a million angels now telling you right here, wake up from the dream of separation, wake up from the dream of not enoughness, wake up and activate that power in love. Activate the I am and activate the power of imagination so that we may use the sacred power towards envisioning what is possible and not using the imagination with fear so that we get out of the horror pictures. Let's turn on to a new dial, a new channel of TV of what is possible. And we can do so by first lightening up, by first finding the joy, finding the joy of spirit, finding what's already here. And being in right relationship with each other, right relationship with all the planet. Right relationship with ourselves, with everything, with everyone. And what are some of the practical ways that we can really help make this a better world for the generations to come? What are some of the things that we can do? Some of the practical things that we can do? We can reduce our carbon footprints, right? Practical things. When we're not in a room, we can turn off the lights. We don't need to leave the lights on. We don't need so much hot water. We can unplug our electric devices when we're not using them. Instead of buy some things and throw away things, we can sell what we're no longer using. We can give it away, declutter our life that is too full. And then what was going to be your waste can end up being an object of beauty for somebody else through its creativity. So we begin to recycle all the elements of life and begin to live in a much more harmonious way. See, and begin to totally come into our power, our God-given powers, really stand in our light. Ralph Waldo Emerson says, most of the shadows of this life are caused by standing in one's own sunshine. So, don't believe those shadows anymore. Step away from the shadow and really realize that the light is in you. The power is in you. And, the sun shines its light upon all. And our job is to shine our light no matter what. Get out of the thoughts of, you deserve my light. You don't deserve my light. The sun just knows how to shine its light, right? And it just shines here and here and here. It doesn't say, I don't know if I'm going to shine my light on you today, or maybe tomorrow when you do better, I will shine my light upon you. It shines its light no matter what. And we're here to really tap into this light, and so we can share it with the world. Shine your light. Shine your light. What are you waiting for? Today is the day that you get to shine your light. Are you ready to shine your light? Yes. Then turn to the person next to you and smile, give your best smile and say, I see your light because I am shining my light. I see your light because I am shining my light. And we share the light. We share the light and recognize that it is the one light that we are sharing. And I'm not going to judge you anymore and tell you if I'm going to shine my light or not. So if you're still holding on any grievances or any thoughts regarding someone that you're not willing to shine your light, are you willing this morning to shine your light on that person? Yes. Even that one that touches your buttons and really aggravates you? Okay, take a moment to bring into your mind's eye the person that most aggravates you, the person that you have most judged. Bring him on, come on. And breathe and say, I behold the Christ in you. I behold the Christ in you. I behold the Christ in you. I see you as my very own self. Take a breath. I know, even if you don't fully believe it, at least begin to practice it. Because that's the way that you're going to free yourselves and you're going to free the world. And we do this over and over again, this practice of being in the right mind, by being in our power, by really being in that place. Because see, the Gospel of St. Thomas says, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. Now, if you don't bring forth what is within you, it will destroy you. So we're here to bring forth the very light of our being. We're being called to really stand in our power, stand in the light that we are, shine it forth to the world with divine wisdom from the power of love, so that we can begin to envision things right. And we do this over and over again so we may change the grooves in our brain. Because as Henry David Thoreau says, as a single footstep will not make a path on the earth, so a single thought will not make a pathway in the mind. To make a deep and physical path, we must think over and over again the kind of thoughts we wish to dominate our lives. So we want to be intentional in our awakening. We want to be intentional in seeing things right. We want to be intentional in really standing in our power, in the light, and seeing how sacred this one life is, that one source. And then as the Mayans say, in la catch, as a greeting, which is, you are another me. You are another me. In la catch, you are another me. You are another me. You have cried, you have laughed, you have walked this journey upon the planet Earth. In la catch, you have enjoyed this magnificent planet. In la catch, another me. Namaste. I behold the divinity in you. We are one life, one source, not two. One life living us right here, right now. So this morning as we honor Pachamama on this Earth Day Sunday, wake up to your divine self. Wake up, the essence of life that's calling you forth to fully stand in your light and shine it forth to the world. And everything, every person that you see is coming forth this one energy, this one life. All beautiful incarnations of the one. Take a walk today. Walk in beauty. Everything that you see is embodied energy, divine essence. And you are the one waking up. But always remember, begin by loving yourself and share that love and that light to the world. Here now. In la catch, in la catch, in la catch. I love you.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Positive Spiritual Living Podcast, brought to you by Unity on the Bay, a spiritual community located in Miami, Florida. Unity on the Bay is supported by the generosity of its community. If you'd like to make a donation or learn more about Unity on the Bay, please visit unityonthebay.org. You can also follow Unity on the Bay on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for even more positive spiritual inspiration. Until next time, thanks for listening and many blessings. Namaste.